Super interesting video today, guys. We have Frankie Boyle's savage examination of UK politics. This is on a TV show called The Last Leg off of Channel 4. And for those who don't know, guys, Frankie Boyle is literally the most controversial comedian in the entire world. He's personally my favorite comedian, I think, of all time. Definitely of all time, actually. Let's just say that. Apart from a few others, of course. There's a few other people that I like, but Frankie Boyle is number one, guys. But it's interesting to see in the UK, guys, they've introduced, let me just turn this fan off. They've introduced in the UK this kind of hate speech bill, and over one weekend, they got like 6,000 complaints. 4 comedians were thrown in jail over like jokes and stuff like that. So it's interesting to see that Frankie Boyle has been quiet on this issue. Note, guys, in the last year, he hasn't said anything about it. I'm not sure if he's said anything about it on RT TV, that's Russian television news, but I'd be interested to see what his take on it is, guys, because I don't know what his take on it is. So drop a comment down below, let me know your thoughts, guys, and let's get this one. This one should be fire, guys. Come on.
Let's welcome tonight's guest. One is known as the terror of the Conservative Party, the other is a well-known comedian. Please welcome Baroness Saeeda Vasi and comedian Frankie Boyle. All right, Frankie, I'm going to start with you. What do you make of the Tory leadership campaign?
I just think we're the first society in history to be ruled by incompetent fascists. Fascists are... They're normally organised. We're going to be going to the death camps in a replacement bus service.
So this is the thing, guys. A lot of people say he's like this really left-wing guy, but I'm not so sure, guys. I think deep down, you know, he is more conservative than people think. But I think actually he is pretty left-wing. But I love it, guys. I love his jokes, man. His stuff is fire.
Yes. We're going to have the next Prime Minister chosen by a very small group of elderly people during a heat wave. And it's going to be either Rishi Sunak, a guy whose greatest desire in life is to be pegged by Thatcher's ghost, or Liz Truss, who would be the first Prime Minister to forget to breathe and just die.
But note that, guys, he gets away with saying all this stuff because, like Russell Brand, he's pretty left-wing. But if he ever switches to the other side, guys, he's going to get cancelled like crazy. I think he's actually afraid to get cancelled again because obviously he got kicked off the show Mock the Week as well, the best show of all time. But it's really interesting to see Frankie Boyle nowadays, guys. Class jokes already. This guy is too funny.
Saeeda?
I'm trying really hard not to applaud or laugh.
Of the two, would they have been your final 2 choices?
So the good news is they're not the worst 2.
Okay.
Right? Because we could have had Cruella Braverman, or we could have Suella Braverman, sorry. or we could have had Kemi, the Queen of Culture Wars, right?
Right.
And we didn't have them.
So they were your...
That's the good news. We don't have them too.
Yeah.
The bad news is we don't have who we should have had, which is Tom Tugendhat or Penny Mordaunt, which I think would have been a return to the sane middle ground for the party. And, you know, if I had my choice, I would have had either Tom or Penny.
So of the 2...
Do I have to give a decision?
That's what he said. That's what the guy in the audience said as well.
Did he?
Yeah.
What did he say?
He eventually said Rishi, but he said he didn't want to choose either of them.
No, but I think if I had to choose between Rishi and Liz, the fact that Liz just wants to borrow more money to give tax cuts, whereas Rishi is at least talking about trying to manage the finances. I was saying this to you earlier, wasn't I? That actually as a Conservative, large parts of my life I've almost been able to live with the fact that we're not particularly well liked, but we are competent. But the fact that we are now neither well liked nor competent is a really bad place to be. So
I think all politicians nowadays are pretty terrible. They're taking money from countries. They're just, bro, it's just so corrupt nowadays. I think politicians is the most corrupt thing ever nowadays, you know.
Hoping Rishi will be more competent.
But he's going to be even worse than Boris Johnson.
Oh,
it's going to be like
that.
we've tunnelled our way out.
I'm looking forward to having a summer holiday. Please, just let me have a summer holiday.
Honestly.
There's only so much I take. I'm going to need therapy at the end of all of this.
For being a Tory?
For being...
So Tory is like conservative, it's like Republican in America, okay? And it's more like the let's say, conservative people of Ireland, right?
All right, so Frankie, what qualities do you look for in a Prime Minister?
Just the opposite of whatever these people are offering. Like at the moment, I would look for someone who would put us out of our misery with a nuclear war.
I would just settle for somebody who tells
Bro,
the
I
truth.
love Frankie, bro. He's too good, bro.
Yeah.
Doesn't have parties,
Yeah.
believes in the rule of law, has some ethics and values and character,
So fun.
and just gets shit done.
I mean, we all want that. Tell me this: why do you still believe in the Conservative Party? Is there hope, and why?
Because if we all desert it, those of us that are in the centre ground of politics and want it to return to the same centre ground, then
Yeah.
it's just going to be lost to the maddies, and we can't afford for it to do that.
All right. So
We're going to
listen.
stay and fight.
Fiona said, is it okay that Boris Johnson got a standing ovation at PMQs by the MPs who actually dumped him? Yes, the outgoing Prime Minister this week ended by quoting the Terminator, "Hasta la vista, baby," although he was probably thinking, "I'll be back." It's also not the first time he's quoted Arnold Schwarzenegger, because I'm pretty sure at some stage he said, "That's not my kid." MPs were told ahead of time to give Johnson a standing ovation, but one person reluctantly stood and refused to clap.
It was when she started doing the wanker sign that it really...
Now that all started, that session started with the Speaker Lindsay Hoyle saying it's customary to say something nice about the outgoing Prime Minister. So Frankie, what would you say nice about Boris Johnson?
Boris Johnson, we have no idea how you were Prime Minister. You look like a chewed toffee that had to be cut out of the hair of an Afghan hound. Or like someone injected Hitler's DNA into a panna cotta.
Hitler's DNA in a panna cotta. Oh my god, so funny. But I'll say this, guys, the Conservative Party in the UK is terrible. There's only a few people like, most of them are terrible. The UK is destroyed. I would never tell anyone to go to the UK. The UK is just a failed place. I would never go to the UK. UK sucks, guys.
Now, earlier in the week, Boris Johnson took a small trip in a fighter jet in which he bragged about doing loop-the-loops, which, much like his leadership, look spectacular but leave you exactly where you started.
Oh, I got it wrong, because when I heard he'd been in the plane, I just assumed that Carrie had put a quid in one of them ones out the front of Tesco.
I think he likes to think he's Maverick in Top Gun. Right
Oh, it's
there.
a bit maverick.
He is a bit Maverick, but given his past admissions, I reckon Michael Gove's the one saying, "I feel the need for speed." Frankie, what do you think Boris is going to do next?
Die quite soon, hopefully.
And this is why this is why we didn't book you with Miriam Margolyes.
I'm really glad I came on this week.
So as the country says goodbye to Boris Johnson. By the way, last time you were on, you said, why do you only get me on when shit's going down with the Tories?
I know, but the problem is shit's going down all the time. It's almost any week that I come on, but at least, we can talk. The only thing I would warn you of is, and I was saying this to, Mr. Cameron the other day, I said, I don't know what I was falling out with you about, right? Because we then had Theresa May. And now I look at Theresa May and I think those were the golden years, because we look at Boris Johnson. So where's this heading, guys? We could be looking back at this era as a really golden period, because we might get something
Theresa May was terrible as well.
really crazy coming down the track.
Can I just say Theresa May was a monster as well?
And that's...
What we forget...
You can't really debate or beef, as we call it, with Frankie Boyle, guys. It's impossible. Like, how are you supposed to beef with Frankie Boyle? Literally, it's like Kendrick Lamar and Drake, and the Tories are Drake in this case, and Kendrick Lamar is destroying Drake. Like, you can't really beef with flipping Kendrick Lamar. You can't beef with Frankie Boyle. He's too good, guys. He's too smart, bro.
Nowadays is that she was only bearable because she had no power, and like for most of her time as Prime Minister, she sort of had all the authority of the "Do Not Tumble Dry" label.
Can we just go to an ad break now?
Yeah, so...
Why are you dressed like
Dude,
that? You wanted
he's so offensive. And this is the thing, guys. Like I said, I don't think it's a big conspiracy, but the whole thing about Frankie Boyle is he's the most controversial guy in the world. He hates the Tories, hates the Conservative. He probably also hates, let's be real, guys, most of the flipping people on the left wing as well, on the liberal side as well, because everyone's gone crazy, man. A lot of the policies have gone insane. But yeah, Frankie Boyle is the best comedian of all time, guys. He's absolutely insane. I love to see it. Let me know your thoughts, guys. I love you all. Stay free, and I'll see you guys in the next one, man. Peace.